I was sitting at my parents' dining table when my own mother looked me in the eye and said, "Maybe Sarah's right about you, Sarah." My best friend of 6 years. The same person who had just spent 3 months systematically poisoning every relationship I had with my family. And it worked. They believed her over me. Every single one of them, Sarah entered my life like a whirlwind during our sophomore year of college. She was magnetic. The kind of person who could walk into a room and own it within minutes. We clicked instantly over late-night study sessions that turned into deep conversations about family, dreams, insecurities. Within months, she was not just my friend. She was my person. She loved my family. That is what I thought. Anyway, she would show up to Sunday dinners at my parents' house, bring my mom flowers, ask my dad about his woodworking projects. My younger sister adored her. "You are so lucky to have a friend like Sarah," Mom would say. I agreed. There were small things, though. Things I brushed off, like how she would text my mom directly instead of asking me first, just coordinating. She would laugh when I mentioned it. Or how she would reference conversations with my sister that I was not part of. "We are close too now," she would say, squeezing my hand. Is not that great? It felt weird, but I told myself I was being possessive. This was good. My best friend and my family getting along. What could be wrong with that? It started small. Sarah began showing up at my parents' house when I was not there. I was in the neighborhood. She would text me afterward. "Your mom invited me in for coffee." Then it became weekly. She would have lunch with my mom, help my dad in the garage, take my sister shopping. "You do not mind, right?" She would ask. "I just love your family." I did mind, but I could not explain why without sounding jealous. By month 4, I noticed my mom's texts changing. Where she used to ask how I was doing, she would now say things like, "Sarah mentioned you have been stressed. Are you okay?" Or, "Sarah's worried about you. She says you have been distant." I had not been distant with Sarah. We saw each other 3 times a week. But suddenly, my own mother was getting her information about me from my best friend. "Why are you telling my mom I am stressed?" I asked Sarah over coffee one afternoon. Her face fell. She set down her cup slowly, eyes welling up. I am just worried about you. You have been different lately, Snappy. I thought maybe your mom could help. I have not been snappy, see. This, right here. This is what I mean." She wiped her eyes. "I cannot even express concern without you getting defensive. Maybe I should not have said anything, but I care about you. Your family cares about you. We are all just trying to help." I apologized. I actually apologized for questioning why she was discussing me behind my back with my mother. The silent treatment started after that. The first one lasted 2 days. I would texted her about weekend plans, and she just did not respond. No explanation. When she finally replied, it was a single word, "busy." When I asked if everything was okay, she said, "Fine." But her tone at our next meetup was cold, distant. I spent the entire coffee date trying to figure out what I had done wrong. Did I do something? I finally asked. She sighed, like I was exhausting her. "You really do not see it, do you?" "See what?" "Exactly." She gathered her purse. "I need some space to think about whether this friendship is healthy for me." She left me sitting there, heart pounding, replaying every interaction from the past week. I texted her that night. "I am sorry, whatever I did. I am sorry. Please talk to me." She did not respond for 5 days. When she finally did, it was like nothing happened. "Miss you, dinner tonight." I said yes immediately, relief flooding through me. I did not even ask what I would supposedly done. I was just grateful the silence was over. That became the pattern. I would say something she did not like, question her, set a boundary, make plans without her, and she would disappear, sometimes for days, sometimes for a week. She would ignore my texts, my calls. Then she would resurface with a casual message, and I would be so desperate to end the silence that I would drop everything to see her. Meanwhile, her relationship with my family deepened. She was at Sunday dinners every week now. My mom would post photos of them together on Facebook. "Lovely afternoon with my favorite girls," except I was not in the photo. I was working. Sarah had gone without me. "Do not you think it is weird she is spending so much time with my family?" I asked my sister one night. Emma shrugged. "She is nice. Mom really likes her. Why? Are you jealous?" "No, just because Sarah said you might be feeling left out. She feels bad about it." My stomach dropped. She said that. "Yeah, she is really worried about you, honestly. She thinks you are going through something." I was not going through anything, except this slow creeping feeling that I was losing control of my own life. The breaking point came 8 months in. I would started dating someone. Marcus, Sarah met him once, smiled politely, then never asked about him again. But my mom did. Sarah's concerned about this new boyfriend of yours, she said over the phone. She thinks he might be isolating you. What? That is insane. Why would she say that? She said you have been canceling plans with her to spend time with him, that you are not yourself anymore. I had canceled plans, twice, because Sarah had given me 1 hour's notice both times, and I already had commitments. But in her version, told to my mother, I was being controlled by a man I would been dating for 6 weeks. Mom, that is not what is happening. Honey, Sarah's known you for years. She loves you. If she is worried, maybe you should listen. That is when I knew. My own mother was taking Sarah's word over mine. Let me break down what was actually happening, because for 8 months I could not see it. The first tactic was the silent treatment, and it is more insidious than it sounds. This is not just someone needing space or being busy. It is deliberate emotional withdrawal used as punishment and control. Sarah would go completely silent. No explanation, no warning. Whenever I did something she did not like, set a boundary, silence. Made plans without her, silence. Questioned her behavior, silence. Here is why it worked. The uncertainty was torture. I would spend days analyzing every text, every conversation, trying to figure out what I would done wrong. The anxiety of not knowing was worse than any argument, so I would apologize for things I did not even understand, just to make it stop. And each time I did, I taught her that silence worked. I would comply to end the discomfort. The red flag if you are walking on eggshells to avoid triggering someone is silence. Or if you find yourself apologizing just to get them to speak to you again, that is not communication. That is control. The second tactic was isolation, but it was brilliant in its subtlety. Sarah did not pull me away from my family. She embedded herself into them. She became the bridge, the interpreter, the concerned friend who understood me better than I understood myself. To my family, she looked like she was helping. Sarah's worried about you became a constant refrain. But here is what was really happening. She was positioning herself as the authority on my life. My mom stopped asking me directly about things and started filtering her concerns through Sarah. My sister trusted Sarah's version of events over mine. When I did try to set boundaries with Sarah, my family saw it as me pushing away someone who cared. The mechanism is simple. Create dependency and triangulation. My family became dependent on Sarah's narrative about me, and any conflict between Sarah and me automatically involved them, with Sarah as the reliable narrator and me as the concerning subject. The red flag: if someone is having more conversations about you with your loved ones than you are, if your own family starts quoting your friends' concerns about you, if you are being discussed rather than approached directly, that is not care. That is positioning. The third tactic was strategic vulnerability. Remember how Sarah cried when I first questioned her? That was not an emotional reaction. That was a weapon. She would deploy her tears, her hurt feelings, her "I am just worried about you" routine to flip the script. Suddenly, I was not someone with a legitimate concern. I was someone making her cry. I was the problem. She used vulnerability as both shield and sword. The shield: I am just trying to help. I care so much it hurts. The sword: you are hurting me by not trusting my concern. This created a dynamic where I could not question her without becoming the villain in the story. My family saw her tears, her worry, her devotion. They did not see the manipulation underneath. The red flag: if someone is emotional displays consistently prevent you from addressing your concerns, if their vulnerability always centers them in conflicts about your boundaries, if you end up comforting them when you tried to confront them, that is not sensitivity. That is manipulation. I did not have a dramatic confrontation. I did not call Sarah out or explain everything to my family. I just left. It started with me sitting in my car after that dinner, hands shaking on the steering wheel, replaying my mother's words. Maybe Sarah's right about you. I would try to explain that Sarah was lying about Marcus, about me canceling plans, about all of it. My mom had given me this patient, concerned look, the look you give someone who is in denial. My dad had stayed quiet. My sister had actually said, "Why would Sarah lie? Why would she?" I still do not fully know. Control entertainment. Some need I filled. It does not matter. What mattered was that I would lost my family to someone who had spent 8 months carefully building a version of me. They believed more than the real thing. I stopped answering Sarah's texts, all of them. She went through her usual cycle, casual messages, then concerned ones, then silence. But this time, I did not break. After 2 weeks, she showed up at my apartment. "What is going on?" she asked, eyes already wet. "Did I do something? Your mom said you are not coming to Sunday dinner anymore. Everyone is worried." I looked at her through the cracked door. "I need space." Space from me, after everything. Her voice cracked. "I have been there for you through everything. I love you. Your family loves you. We are all just trying to help you see." I closed the door. She knocked for 5 minutes. Then she left. The texts started that night. From her, from my mom, from my sister. "Sarah's devastated. What happened between you two? She is crying. She does not understand." I did not respond to any of them. I could not explain without sounding paranoid. Without sounding exactly like the unstable person Sarah had been painting me as for months. I moved 3 months later. Different city. Job transfer I would been considering anyway. I did not tell my family until a week before. My mom cried, "You are running away from people who love you." Maybe I was. But I was also running toward myself. The first 6 months were hard. I would catch myself drafting text to Sarah about something funny that happened. Then remember, I would see my sister's Instagram stories. Sarah still at Sunday dinners and feel this hollow ache. I mourned the family I thought I had, the friend I thought I knew. But slowly, in the silence and distance, I started remembering who I was before Sarah, before I was walking on eggshells, before I was apologizing for things I did not do, before my own family needed a third party to tell them about my life. It took a year before I could think about it without my chest tightening. 2 years before I could talk about it. My relationship with my family is still fractured. We are in touch now, surface. Level texts, occasional calls. They never apologized. I do not think they understand what happened. To them, I am the one who pulled away from everyone who cared. Sarah's still in their lives. I have made peace with that. Some things you cannot fix, only survive. If you are reading this and something feels familiar, here are the 3 red flags you cannot ignore. First, someone uses silence as punishment. Not "I need time to cool down" with communication, but deliberate withdrawal that leaves you anxious and scrambling. If you are constantly trying to figure out what you did wrong, apologizing just to end the silence, walking on eggshells to avoid triggering their disappearance, that is not a friendship. That is control through emotional abandonment. Second, they position themselves between you and your support system. They are having conversations about you with your family, your other friends, your partner. They are the one expressing concern, interpreting your behavior, explaining you to the people who should know you directly. You start hearing your own life narrated back to you through their filter. That is not care. That is colonization of your relationships. Third, you cannot address problems without becoming the problem. Every time you try to set a boundary or express concern, their emotional reaction centers them. You end up comforting them, apologizing to them, questioning your own reality. The issue you raise disappears under their hurt feelings. That is not sensitivity. That is deflection masquerading as vulnerability. If you are in this situation right now, here is what you can do. Step 1, document. Keep a private record of incidents, texts, conversations, timeline, not because you will necessarily show anyone, but because manipulators rely on you doubting your own memory. When they say that never happened, or you are remembering it wrong, you need an anchor to reality. Write down what actually occurred, with dates. Your sanity will thank you. Step 2, rebuild direct communication. If someone is mediating your relationships, go straight to the source. Call your mom yourself. Text your friend directly. Do not let anyone be the interpreter of your life. If your family says so and so is worried about you, respond with "They can talk to me directly about that." Refuse the triangulation. It feels awkward, but it breaks the pattern. Step 3, trust your discomfort. You know that feeling in your gut that something is wrong, even when you cannot articulate it. That is not paranoia. That is your instinct recognizing a pattern your conscious mind has not caught up to yet. Stop trying to rationalize away your unease. If a friendship consistently leaves you anxious, confused, or diminished, something is wrong, even if you cannot explain it perfectly to others. Here is what I wish someone had told me. You do not need everyone to understand your decision to protect yourself. You do not need to prove the manipulation to people who are invested in not seeing it. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is quietly, firmly remove yourself from a dynamic that is destroying you. Even if it makes you look like the bad guy in someone else's story, your peace matters more than their narrative. If you have experienced this kind of friendship manipulation, drop a comment. You are not alone, and you are not crazy. Sometimes the cruelest manipulation comes from the people who are supposed to be in your corner. Recognizing it is the first step to reclaiming your life.